Taken a lot of us by surprise, this one, hasn't it? Quite a few players not included, quite a few new players included. I'm going to take a quick look at Southgate's squad and give my reaction. So you'll see Southgate's squad here to my right. 25 players Southgate's chosen. Like I said, some of those I think are quite surprising and others not so much. Starting with the three keepers, most obvious three keepers you're ever going to pick. They speak for themselves, so let's move on. So the big question before this squad was announced was the fullback positions. He's ended up not actually picking Walker. We knew Trippier was going to be injured anyway. Not picking Walker, though, for me is a real shock, because essentially a Walker can play as a trusted centre-back if he plays three at the back. Obviously, he's trusted him immensely before on the right. With Trippier being injured, you'd have thought it'd have been a cert, but he hasn't picked him. He has said that he's going to pick him in for the June games, so whether he does or not, we'll wait to see. But I do feel like, and I tweeted at the time, I feel like this is a passing of the torch. We've got two of the best right-backs in world football, in most people's opinion, in TAA and Reece James, who are both included in this squad. This may be the last call-ups for Trippier and Walker, but they are very experienced players. You can never discount them, but it just feels like there's a bit of a statement here made by Southgate by leaving Walker out in it, or at least is very certainly taking a closer look at other right-back personnel. Connor Cody, Ben White, Harry Maguire, Tyrone Mings, John Stones and Mark Guehi, the big surprise of this one. I think it's brilliant that he's got a call up. I will admit, I don't know a huge lot about him, but I think it's great that he's there. For me, though, you've got to look at that back four, particularly those centre-back positions, and think, how on earth has Tomori not got in? I really do want to see him. I just feel like, what does Tomori have to do? All the rumours are, all the talk is that in Italy he's absolutely playing fantastic. He's been a key part of AC Milan's rise to the top of Serie A. So it's a difficult one. You do worry for his future with England, because you've got to think, what else does he have to do, really? This, for me, would have been the perfect opportunity to pick him. Like I said, with Maguire and Stones not being at the best, Mings also not being at his best, he's going to look like he's going to probably try Cody and White together. But you'd have liked to have seen Tomori come into this to at least give him a game in one of these two friendlies. So for me, a little bit of disappointment that Tomori isn't involved, and I think he can count himself very unlucky. Left-back position is also interesting. He's only picked Luke Shaw. Now that to me tells me that he's going to be looking at probably using somebody else at left-back. Probably going to be Reece James. I think he might try him on the left. It'll be interesting to see what he does there. But again, you just feel like maybe Kyle Walker-Peters could have come in. You just feel like it was a chance for him to have a look at another left back, particularly with Chilwell being out injured long term, Shaw not on the best form. We haven't got as much depth at left back as what we have at right back, so you'd have felt like, is this his time to give another person a go? He hasn't, which is a bit of a surprise, but it looks like he's going to be using, I think, Reece James at left back position. You'd have also thought Mitchell would have had a shout at being coming in at left back. Obviously it just wasn't to be. Going on to midfield then, he's picked Jude Bellingham, Gallagher, Henderson, Mount, Rice and Ward-Prowse. All brilliant, absolutely brilliant selections for me. I forgot to mention Ward-Prowse in my last video. Definitely glad that he's there. I think if you've got Ward-Prowse and TAA on the pitch at any time, I think set pieces are just going to be absolutely devastating for England. Loads of opportunities to get goals there. Interesting how Dyer hasn't come back into that, particularly as Phillips is injured. You'd have thought, given his form and Southgate's previous experience with Dyer, you maybe thought he'd have been coming back into this squad, and I think it speaks volumes that he hasn't chosen him. For Dyer, you would be very disappointed. You'd probably feel like, is it going to be the end for Dyer? I think it's really disappointing, though, that there's no Ramsey within this midfield. I think he's been brilliant. I think he definitely deserved a call up to this squad. Again, I'm a big fan, I think, of using this squad to experiment, given the lack of other games we've got the rest of the year. So yeah, some interesting omissions there. But looking up front then, you've got obviously no Calvert-Lewin. You've got no Ivan Toney. Obviously another glaring omission is Jared Bowen as well, but I think he's injured, so you can understand him not being in the squad. I think if he was fit, he would be definitely coming into this team. But who he has included is Tammy Abraham, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, Harry Kane, Saka, Smith Rowe and Sterling. Another glaring omissions is obviously Rashford and Jadon Sancho. I think he's right too. Yes, Jadon Sancho is coming out of really good form recently, but it's only been very recently. I think throughout the rest of the season, other players are ahead of him, including the ones he's chosen. I know people have said about Jack Grealish maybe not deserving his place, but I think he's done more than enough. And Marcus Rashford, he's just going downhill, isn't he? Continuously. He says a lot again, going back to the last Euros when he was barely used, and for a long period he looked like he was going to be England's only future. He really needs to move clubs for me, but Rashford deservedly isn't in this squad. But I think all in all, it's an interesting squad. I think there's some missed opportunities here, really, with Owen being injured. I'd like to have seen him. And I think at the back, it'd have been nice to see another left-back come in. Tomori definitely should have been given a call-up. I think it's great that Guehi's got the call-up, so good luck to him. Hopefully he gets some game time. He's not just there just to make up the numbers. Be interesting to see who he plays alongside Rice in the centre of the park. Could be anyone. Some people prefer Mount pushing up or sitting back. Same with Bellingham. You know, is he a holding midfielder? Can he push further forward? But all in all, it's a good squad for England. We've got to remember that the amount of depth England have at the minute is always going to be somebody who misses out. I think overall, he's got the majority of the squad right. My biggest one is Tomori. Hopefully, he will be in the next squad, or he's certainly within the shout for the UEFA Nations League. Give me your thoughts below in the comments. Who would you have liked to see in the squad? What do you think of it? Has Southgate got it right? If you're at the game as well next weekend, please let me know. Give me a shout out and hopefully I'll bump into you then. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.